All right. Go get it, nation. How we doing?
Woo, woo.
It is Tuesday, 3:00 Eastern time. And it's time for Ringside. And you know what that means? We're going to be having a no holds barred, no safety net, no script, no notes discussion. We're going to get raw and real with someone who is large and in charge in the voiceover industry. And I'm going to introduce her real quick. And we're also going to let everybody know, if you are here, please make sure to include your name in the comments and we'll give you the requisite shout out because we're doing something a little different today. Traditionally, LinkedIn Live is the sole source of Ringside. But as we did on Discipline on Monday, we were able to simulcast that not only on Facebook, but also on YouTube and in Clubhouse. So right now we are broadcasting on LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, and YouTube and Clubhouse. If you are joining us on Clubhouse, please make sure to mute your microphone because of the wacky way that I have this thing put together. I don't want anything feeding back into the show. So real quick, a quick introduction to our guest today, and this is another reason why today's show is going to be a little different because a lot of times we have questions to ask. We have stories to tell. I'm sure some of that's going to come up, but this is an opportunity. If you're in the voiceover industry, this is an opportunity where we want you to be in control. We have arranged, we have our guest today held captive for about a half hour, and she has willingly agreed to answer any and all voiceover related questions. Go get it, nation. Allow me to introduce to you a long-time friend, colleague. She's a VO coach. She's a mentor. She's a talent. She is a freaking rock star. Please welcome Alyson Steele to the show.
Woo, thank you. Super excited to be here, especially because I've known you forever.
It's been a long time. I had much more hair when we first started.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm going to adjust your mic a little more here. Stand by. Let's get your mic setting up a little bit. There we go. All right. So let's give a little shout out here to the Peanut Gallery who have joined us. Let's see. We have Elaine Dissin. I know that young lady. She's joining us. Hi, Elaine. Thank you. Steve Tardio is here. Hey, Steve. Oh, you know this young fella, the big dog, Jim Cooper, is here with us. Hey, Jim. Maureen Cooper, Mo VO is here. Ashley Bell has joined us. Grant Patrizio, or as he likes to say, go for Grant, is here. Thank you for joining us. Anthony Palmini, my man. What's up, dude? Hottie is here from Rock VO in Canada. What's up, my friend? David Inahosa is here. Another fella you might know, George Allen Ruth, has joined us. Hey, George, what's up, dude? John McBride from Frosty, Philadelphia is in the house. Thank you for joining us, and I will do my best to weave in the shout-outs as we go. Alyson, welcome to the show. Welcome to Ringside.
Super excited to be here. I'm excited for the questions and no holds barred answers.
So let me say that once again, a couple of things. A, not only are we on LinkedIn Live today, we're also on Facebook Live today for the very first time. Ringside is on Facebook Live as well. And we're also streaming to YouTube. And if you want to jump on Clubhouse, we have a room open right now. And the theme for today's show is Ask Allie Anything. Okay, here is someone, just so you know, let me give you an idea of the kind of pro, the kind of talent that Allie is. When I was running the production company, there was sort of an inside joke that if you needed a female talent for a job, it was just like, give it to Allie, give it to Allie, give it to Allie, give it to Allie. She just gets it done. She just gets it done. And she's been there. She has done that. She is, a consummate professional, not to mention pick a style of read, spin the wheel. She gets it done. So this is your opportunity to ask Allie all sorts of VO related questions, not to mention she works as a one-on-one coach. Let's welcome a few other people here, Allie, and we'll see if we can get the questions rolling. Yeah. Jennifer Simmons is here, and she says, hey, this isn't VO related, but she loves your hair.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Tom Aiken has joined us. What's up, Tom? You don't know Tom. I know Tom well. We were high school buds and teammates, and I've known that kid, geez Louise, too long, Tom. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us. And he knew me with a lot more hair, too. That's for sure. Ross Merritt has joined us. John Grimes has joined us. Ann Lucente has joined us. The Power of Three, Charlie Wyrock has joined us. Let me reiterate again, guys. It is time to get your questions out. My wife wants to know about your hair products. ASAP.
Oh my God. It's so funny because, okay, occasionally I won't use anything. I know it's like so girly. Okay, this is going to sound like a total plug, but Monate is so good. It's the dry cream that you don't have to use anything with. And then today I used L'Oreal Springing Curls, the mousse.
There you go.
Made for men because, like, what is that? Anyway.
Go figure to get hair tips from a bald guy on a streaming show today. Go figure. Hey, Ken, what's up? Thank you for joining us, my brother. Yeah, Tom Aiken says, since we were little, and Hottie is a fellow bald man like myself, making more hair references. But, let's get the discussion rolling here, because one of the things that I like your story, I like your position on, is how you learned about a certain phrase that is the polar opposite of what everyone else knows this phrase is. Do tell.
Business show. It's all about business show. Is that what you were going to?
Business show. That's right. Yeah. It's not show business.
Show business.
And why is it a business show? Why is the VO business a business show?
I learned this in high school. I went to the High School of Performing Arts in New York City. I was the last graduating class of the original school, which is now LaGuardia, the original famed school. And our teachers, would give, we were so young. And they basically were like, you have to have your business in order, because, it's going to be 2% is going to keep you up top with your talent. But the rest of it is going to be how do you deal with clients? How are you in the business arena? You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're just sitting there and not doing anything and waiting for it to come to you, it's not going to work, especially nowadays. And you have to have your business in order. So if you don't have a good business sense, you're gonna fall flat.
Does that sound familiar, Go Get It Nation? How many times have we said that you can be super talented and not have any business? I mean, that's why there's the term starving artist.
Yeah.
You can't just lean on how good you sound or how slick that demo is or that coach you hired or how sharp your microphone is. You got to be doing the things behind the scenes, in between the sessions.
Exactly. Especially nowadays, because there's a million people who are so talented out there that are being, you're able to discover so many people and technology and everything way more out there. So how are you going to distinguish yourself is one thing with your talent, but you have to know how to handle yourself in the business world. Absolutely. And it's a small world. I mean, yes, there's more people in the voiceover world, but it is definitely a small world. Name gets around, your attitude gets around, and there's plenty of people that we all know who has what attitude and
And how does your philosophy on the business show influence you when you're with one of your talent clients? How do you weave that in? How do you sprinkle that in to your sessions?
I start it from day one. I see if they're on time. If they're not, at least text me, or I'll text them or send them a thing. Hey, I'll be 5 minutes late. To me, 5 minutes is like a million years. You know what I mean? Especially in voiceover. But I sprinkle it in. I'm like, hey, you got to learn how to, and then when I say phase 2 after the demo process, I teach them how to deal with clients, what to say, what not to, certain things like that. So I sprinkle it in as I teach them.
Have you ever had anybody push back on you? Like, hey, you're just supposed to be telling me how to read.
There was one guy that he was like, in the beginning when I was talking to him, and he was offended. And they won't come back. Those are the people that don't come back.
Shame on that guy, Allie. And thank God you are helping to preach that gospel, because, look.
Old school.
Go Get It Nation is very well used to hearing me say it. because I pound that in the content. I pound it in our coaching calls about you have to make yourself stick out business wise. You have to have a brand. You have to pound the pavement. You have to knock on the doors. You have to be buttoned up with your books. But to hear someone who is doing it and coaching it, like on the performance side, coming out and saying, mirroring that message is key.
Cool. It's old school to me. It's very old school. Like so many people now think, oh, I'm so great. And they just want immediately, they focus in on the technology or they focus on these things. And I'm like, first of all, it's about your read, hone your talent. But then, yeah, you have to be professional. You have to, because people will remember. They have really long memories in this business.
Oh, yeah. Don't take much.
Oh, yeah.
We got our first question from the Peanut Gallery. Let me encourage you all to be asking questions, and a couple of hellos here. We have Robert Jonathan, who has joined us in the house, and the great Chad Erickson has joined us. Hey, Chad. So our question is from our mutual friend, Mr. Jim Cooper.
Jim.
And Jim says, which is more valuable today, pursuing the agency VO model, the P2P model, or direct marketing?
Oh, man, that's a good question.
Leave it to Jim.
Agents, I'm going to go with not P2P. The other one is neck and neck. Because, the fact of the matter is that, some people rely on one agent. Those are the people, like, in my own mind, I'm a rock star, but let's be real, I'm no, XYZ. I can start naming names who are, like the animation gods and stuff like that. I'm like your typical, 6-figure worker, but I'm not like a star, I'm not Randy Thomas. Like that's, what I mean?
Well, you are too modest, number one.
But at the end of the day, I take her sloppy seconds.
Oh, hey now.
I know. The thing is that P2Ps are good. They'll get you going. And some people book a ton on them. You just never know. And I want to say the rate now is like 1 out of every 75 to 100 auditions. That's an average. Some people are, above the average. I have students that just, signed on and they already have 2 or 3 jobs under their belt. But, the reason I like having agents, and you can have agents more than 50 miles of each other, is because you might get different auditions from different agents. Not everybody uses the same agencies. So it'll expand your auditions, amount of auditions, which will, of course, like throwing spaghetti at the wall nowadays, will expand, hopefully you'll get more work that way. That being said, marketing as well, because there are more people, there are more jobs, but the booking ratio might not be as much when it comes to agents.
So given the lower booking ratio with agents, the dilution of talent in the market, there's so many people out there, and agents aren't really hunting for talent anymore. Yeah. There's an excess of them. They're hunting for jobs. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. If you're marketing yourself and you're booking jobs yourself, how does that factor in to your position on union, non-union?
I was one of the first women, I believe, in voiceover in LA to start going non-union 20 years ago. I saw I had an instinct. I saw the train coming once we had the strike hit. The actors strike, and I was like, that's it. It's going to start going non-union, especially with the internet, technology, all that stuff. And now I was right. 85% to 90% is non-union. And everybody knows everybody does it. It's just, I wouldn't have a career if I didn't. I can name 5 people off the bat who used to make $250,000 a year who don't have careers anymore. So it's either make a living and, go with the flow or, but it's rare a day when anybody's calling the union going, hey, these are the 350 people who are doing non-union. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's extinct almost. Yeah. And, how do you, for the talent that maybe is right at the level of kick-ass side hustle, ready to go full time, or somewhere in that spectrum, how do you square that with that person who maybe has AFTRA as their North Star because they don't know that they don't have the experience. They didn't know how things were 20 years ago. What do you tell that person?
Would I prefer doing all union? Absolutely. It's better money. I get like health benefits, the pensions plan and blah, blah, blah. But my pension's not that big. And, if you have to join, you join. But do you really want to plunk down $3,000? Unless
For those of you who don't know, the 3,000 are your yearly union dues. Just
no,
so
that's your one time.
oh, it's your lifetime thing, right?
But
Right.
then you're paying yearly dues, and the benefits are like, look, I do on camera when I can get it, but it's like, I'm not getting that much of it recently, and I would say don't be in such a rush to join. Why? Unless you have to, it's not that big of a deal.
It gives you more flexibility to
Oh,
charge what you want, not necessarily less,
yeah.
but you can charge whatever you want.
Right. And, God help me if somebody from SAG is watching. Yes, I do not, what are you going to do? Kick me out of the union? All right. Like, it's just, come on. They're not going after the little people like me. It's just not. I do both. And I haven't, there are like 2 or 3 agents that are like, oh, we're not going to assign you unless you do FI-Core. Okay, well, I don't feel like going through the paperwork. You live in Los Angeles, they make it very difficult. Then in the rest of the country, you're considered right to work. If I lived 4 hours away in Nevada, I'd be able to have a right to work without having to do FI-Core. I'm like, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm not going through the hassle, and I'm just going to work and pretend I live in Florida. What?
Can you tell why we have Allie on the show? Why she's a perfect fit for Ringside? Tell it like it is. My wife says Allie is a certified badass.
Oh my God, I freaking love your wife. And I heard from Jim Cooper that she's amazing. I can't wait to meet her in person.
Oh boy. If I put you two guys in a room, I think a nuclear explosion would go.
Oh my God.
I think that's going to be the next Ringside, you and Elaine, having a chat. Goodness. That'll be 2 yentas going back and forth. and you know what that word means.
When I found out Corey was a member of the tribe, I was like, oh my God, like something clicked. 20 years ago, yes.
Jessica Taylor says this is exactly what she needs to hear. She makes the choice between union, FI-Core, continuing, non-union.
And again, if you're a must join, great. That means you've done enough work to join. Fantastic.
There you go. Guys, where are your questions? You have an opportunity to ask questions.
I'm excited. Yes, I sit on a ball.
Oh, you're on the exercise ball. Go figure. I know you're very much into yoga and fitness.
Yes, you have to be. Just like Corey, it really does help. Your voice. It helps all of it. It helps your nerves. Yeah, you have to. I'm all about disciplined exercise. 100%.
George Allen Ruth says Yenta is a technical voiceover term. True story, George. Well said. So let me ask you this, because there's all types of information out there. It's pervasive. There are social media groups, there are websites, there are other influencers out there. There's all types of areas where talent go to seek information. And what is your opinion of the low-hanging fruit out there, the free information that's there?
I used to be freaked out and scared of it. And my colleague Carrie Alyson, who I get pretty much all of my referrals from because she's amazing at marketing. She's one of my, besides Jim and a few others, she became a full-time voice actor within 3 months of me teaching her. So it's unprecedented almost. But so we work together in tandem now. She's with top agencies. We help each other. We work with each other. And I forgot the question. Mercury fucking retrograde.
There you go.
Not sorry. But what were you saying? Where was
I probably forgot what the hell my question was too. So I'm right there. You know what? Let's jump to another one here. First, Kathy Curtis asks, do you coach? I do. Training.
I coach one-on-one, yes. And it's my referral, mostly through organic. I don't advertise. I think, my number one is voicing, and then I advertise when, I get my people through referrals.
And Kathy, if you stick around to the end of the show, there's a little surprise in it for you at the end as it regards to coaching. So hang in there, stick around, ask more questions. Hadi asks a question: what is a good job to audition ratio?
Oh my God, that's a tough one. If you're on P2Ps, it's going to be like 1 out of every 75 to 100. It used to be 1 out of every 25, 50. So, but there's so many people. I mean, I have agents all around the country and I don't book that many jobs. I mean, if I'm being really honest, I don't book that many jobs through my agents, although you throw the spaghetti at the wall because you don't know. You see what sticks. You see if you're the flavor of the month. Then even at my level, you get a little in your head and go, why aren't I booking as well? And you talk to your agents, they go, well, right now, if I'm being honest, it's all about Latina. It's all about Black people. They are the ones taking the jobs right now because that is what is happening. It's like America's, wanting to put more, as they write on the auditions, POC, people of color. Then when I hear the auditions that I don't get, and I will listen to TV and radio, I implore you all to listen to see what's out there. The jobs that I don't get are going to now the women that they're in my category, not in my category, because I can go probably 25, 30 to, 45. And I probably sounded the same as I do, 20 when I was 4, right? So, at the end of the day, they're going to go with somebody right now without the rasp in their voice. I noticed that that's like the very clean sounding, vanilla sounding voices are the in thing right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it'll turn the tide. When I was a kid, the Demi Moore sound started later on. So the tide changes, ebbs and flows.
Gotcha.
So, you just don't know. I remembered low-hanging fruit. You have to know how to, budget. If it's going to be a lot of volume, like I do a lot of voicemails and they're really cheap, but at the end of the month, I'm making a lot of money from all the volume of it. And I know,
you know what? Specifically, it was low-hanging fruit regarding free information.
Free information. So free information, yes, I used to be scared of it, but Carrie is the one that changed my mind because sure, there's free information out there, but are you going to put it into use? And how are you going to be guided with it?
So you got to use discretion. We have another question here from John Grimes. He says, what's your opinion on all of these perpetuity buyouts popping up?
Welcome to the non-union world and the cheapie world. But, the agents that are out there are usually very good about that. And they're like, hey, we're not going to let you, it's the agents at some point that are like putting their hand down going, no. Or some of them will be like, you know what, we're putting it out there. If you want to audition for it, great. If not, great. The stinky ones are the ones that are like on the pay to plays, or I'll see on Voice Realm and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not even on there anymore because they are really like trying to buy you out for, nothing. So,
just got to use
discretion. Unfortunately, people will do it, and that's what drives the rates down. But but enough people aren't doing it, thank God, who want to be professional.
George Allen Ruth asks, how much importance do you place on specs? I'm guessing you mean spec spots or specs for a particular commercial. So, George, maybe you want to jump in a comment and clarify that. We'll hang here waiting patiently. Kathy Curtis asks, how can she find you? Hang out, Kathy. We're going to fill you in on that. We're going to shamelessly plug Alyson like crazy. Yeah, AlysonSteele.com. That's for sure.
You can peruse the site while you're sitting here, but you have to spell it correctly. Alyson with a Y and no E at the end of Steele.
And George says VO specs. I guess how a particular client described it.
So, VO specs, you can use them for the way I teach how to rehearse copy. And I take certain things that people who've done my lesson 3 and or the video of 3. And people are like, what? One of my students before said she watched it like 3 times just to. So I use it for rehearsal processes and also to dig through information. It's an information gathering thing. Now, on the flip side of that, I have a male VO talent friend. He makes $250 a year, but he never rehearses and he doesn't even look at the specs. I've tried it both ways. I'm not a fan really, but I'll vacillate depending on my mood, but mostly I'll try to at least see what the specs are, what the writer and the director are going, this is what we want. We want it a little happy, but we want it a little sad. We want it very happy, we want it serious, but we want it light. You're like, what? So,
make up your mind.
Yeah. So, but they're giving you that for a reason because they can't articulate it. That's why they start giving you celebrity references.
Oh yeah. Very familiar with that. I've seen that movie before. Grant Patrizio asks, how would you define a natural or conversational read? Asking as a talent who has been told his natural conversational reads are too big and animated.
Well, how do you speak when you're speaking to your friends? So a natural.
He really does speak that way. Like he has
Oh, really?
like this enthusiastic everything. Like even when he's not in the best mood, he still has this animated way of talking. I think it's great. It's a talent that he has. But I don't want to step on your question, Grant.
No. I mean, and again, that has a place. Then he needs, it's always easier, as my acting teachers used to say, to pull you back than it is to give you more energy. I find that as a director and a coach too. I'm like, please just, give me more. Like,
Grant, Allie says that's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
That he heard you
learn how to temper yourself. Start listening to the commercials around you and go, maybe if I am too much, I can bring it down by half. And start monitoring not just how you speak to Corey, but like, how do you speak to your mom? How do you speak to your friends? Like, are you really like this all the time with your friends? Probably not. You know what I mean? You have to monitor and try to get like, oh yeah, that's how I respond when I'm with a friend, or that's how I might respond when I'm with that friend. Keep that in there so that when you read, it's more conversational.
So a reminder, everybody, just we'll take a brief pause to say, hey, we are on LinkedIn Live. We are on Facebook Live and YouTube for the first time. And we're also simulcasting on a room in Clubhouse. And if you want to hang out with me after the show, we can do a little post game in the Clubhouse room. Just jump on. And we certainly want to solicit questions for Allie. You guys have done a great job so far. You've been a great audience. But this is kind of like last call for alcohol here for questions for the Allie Steele, coach, working VO talent. Bring them on if you have them. Certainly, one thing I had promised everyone in the promos is that Allie has something special to offer because she's, for anybody who has been on the show today. So I'm going to let you kind of fill everybody in.
Yeah. So I have this, Corey was like, hey, do you want to offer a promo? So I sell these videos. And again, I sell them, to be honest, so I don't have to repeat myself. And I teach very foundationally. I want you to know lingo. I want you to know certain aspects. I teach foundationally also from a very psychological, mental level, because that has a lot to do with it, even spiritual stuff. And because it all is a real gestalt. When you do voiceover, it's not just your voice. Your voice is like you're opening your heart. So I want everybody, students of mine, to at least start with the foundation. Some students I don't, as like George would know, I'm like, all right, at least do lesson 3. So I just kind of ascertain where you're at. If you don't know the difference between like promo and imaging or source connect and ISDN and that sort of thing, then you need to start at lesson 1. And like that starts with the genres and that sort of thing. And I fill in the gaps when I teach you live. If people are insistent, then I teach them live those first 3 lessons. They're verbatim. That's why I made the videos. But I'll give you $25 off the package and or, $15 off each if you buy them separately. I would suggest highly, though, to improve your reads. You can ask George, Jim, and Jim. They've all been through the process. That I'll knock $25 off the entire package, just to if you want to start.
So just make sure when you do reach out to Allie that you say that you saw her on Ringside, so she knows that to be able to give you that discount. So you mentioned Ringside or mentioned my name, then you should be in good shape. And speaking of Jim Cooper, you're going to be hanging out with him on his show.
I did.
Hydrant, I'm told. A little birdie just told me that. Thank you, Jim, for popping that into the comments. And by the way,
I'll just say that Jim is the perfect, the ideal person to talk about in terms of getting to a full-time career, because I say that it could take 3 years, and exactly that. Took him 3 years to become this incredible, non-stop working voice talent. So, if you want to know, well, how long is it going to take? It builds, but give it 3 full years to be full-time. I love it.
There you go. Got a great question from George Allen Ruth. He asked if you ever get mistaken for Alyson Steele, the Nightbird in New York.
Oh, yeah, ever since I was a kid. And she passed away, probably 20 years ago, but yes.
I used to listen to Alyson Steele in New York. She was an Infinity. She worked for Infinity. I'm pretty sure she was on K-Rock. I even want to think.
Yes, K-Rock and NEW.
So obviously we have the discounted coaching videos. Where can people find you?
AlysonSteele.com. ALYSONSTEEL.
The right way to spell it, correct?
Correct way.
Yeah. AlysonSteele.com. She's on Facebook. She's on LinkedIn. I know you're on Instagram, I think, and Twitter too. And you can always, if you have trouble connecting with Allie, reach out to me. I have served up folks to Allie more than once.
Yes.
So I'm happy to make an introduction. Allie, you're the best. I mean, I can't believe we've been on talking for 30 minutes already. I appreciate you going ringside. You gave us some valuable information. You're a gem, and I'm lucky to have you, and I'm lucky to be in your orbit.
The feeling's mutual. This was fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. One more reminder. Hey, I'm going to be hanging out on Clubhouse for a few minutes at the conclusion of the show. If you want to reach out, and we'll have a little post-game chat. But a big fist bump over to Allie Steele. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us ringside.
Thank you, guys.
And let's go get it, huh?
Absolutely.